Hello, Leo, and thank you for joining me. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. As always, it will not resonate with everyone, so take what fits and throw the rest away. Let's jump right in and see what the cards have to say for February. This is for my Leos, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for February. That was quick. We got 5 instead of 4, but that's fine. We will take them. Spread that out a little bit. Go that way a little. All right, so let's have a look here. All right, so this is going to read kind of like a chapter that begins with connection and ends with a reset. The Three of Cups opens the reading on a light social note. This is about support, friendship, and shared joy. It suggests that you're not meant to handle whatever's happening alone. There may be celebrations, reunions, or simply a reminder that community matters right now. In real life, this could look like leaning on friends after a stressful period, collaborating instead of going solo, or rediscovering joy through shared experiences, like laughing with people who get you. Okay? And then comes the Wheel of Fortune. This shifts the energy dramatically. Something is changing, whether you planned it or not. The wheel says life is in motion and a cycle is turning. This might be an external shift, timing finally clicks, and circumstances change, or an internal realization that alters your direction. For example, you might suddenly get an opportunity you weren't expecting, or realize that a phase of your life has simply run its course. Then we have the Nine of Wands. This shows how you're meeting that change. Tired, cautious, but still standing. This card speaks to resilience. You've been through enough to be wary, and you might feel like you're constantly on guard. Think of someone who says, I can keep going, but I need to know it's worth it. You haven't given up, but you're definitely feeling the weight of everything that you've endured. Next is the Four of Swords, and this is the reading's deep breath. After pushing through challenges, you're being asked to rest, mentally, emotionally, or physically. This isn't quitting, it's recovery. In everyday terms, this could mean taking time off, stepping back from constant decision making, or giving yourself permission to be quiet for a while instead of immediately reacting to the next change. And then finally, we arrive at the Fool. And this is where it all leads. After connection, change, endurance, and rest, there's a fresh start available. The Fool isn't reckless here, it's renewed. It's the kind of beginning that comes after you've learned enough to travel lighter. For example, you might approach a new relationship without dragging old fears into it. Start a new path with curiosity instead of pressure. Or say yes to something simply because it feels right, not because you've planned every detail. Excuse me. So putting it all together, you're supported, even if life feels unpredictable right now. A shift has happened or is happening that you've pushed through more than people realize, and now you're being asked to pause before starting again. The message is clear. Rest isn't the end of the story. It's what allows you to begin again with openness and trust. So in short, lean on your people, let the cycle turn, honor your exhaustion, and when you're ready, step forward with fresh eyes. All right, so let's do some clarifying. Three of Cups, please. Let's clarify for my Leos. Three of Cups. We have the World. And got two more Wands and Lovers. So let's have a look at how that affects our Three of Cups. So in this case, our Three of Cups is now has much more weight, okay, with this clarifying. It's not just casual celebration or surface level social energy. It's meaningful connection that moves things forward and completes a cycle. With the World, the Eight of Wands, and the Lovers clarifying this Three of Cups, the joy and connection shown here are tied to completion, momentum, and a heartfelt choice. Okay. The World says this gathering, friendship, or shared moment marks the end of a chapter. Something has come full circle. This could be celebrating a milestone, like a graduation, recovery, reconciliation, or finally feeling at home with certain people. In emotional terms, it can also mean finding your tribe after feeling out of place for a long time. Then the Eight of Wands adds speed and communication. This connection isn't stagnant. Things are happening quickly. Messages fly, plans form, and energy flows. For example, a simple catch-up conversation might suddenly lead to a decision, an invitation, or a realization that changes your direction faster than expected. It's that feeling of once we talked, everything clicked. And then Lovers bring in alignment and choice. This isn't just about romance. It's about choosing people, paths, or values that genuinely resonate with you. The Three of Cups becomes a moment of clarity where you recognize who truly belongs in your life. For instance, you may realize which friendships are mutual and supportive, or you might choose to deepen a bond because it aligns with who you are now, not who you used to be. So together these cards say the Three of Cups represents a turning point through connection, celebrating with the right people, having the right conversations, and sharing an honest moment, which brings both closure and forward motion. So against the larger spread, we're looking at connection and joy aren't distractions, they're catalysts. They mark the end of an old cycle, trigger rapid movement and communication, and help you make a value-based choice, which then leads into change, Wheel of Fortune, endurance, Nine of Wands, rest, Four of Swords, and ultimately a fresh start with the Fool. So the takeaway is that the right people at the right moment can change everything. A shared laugh, honest talk, or celebration may be exactly what helps you close one chapter and step confidently into the next. So let's clarify the wheel for my Leos. Clarifying the wheel, please. Queen of Swords and the Death card. Okay, so this clarification makes the Wheel of Fortune much more specific and intentional. This isn't random change or fate spinning blindly. It's change brought on by clarity and a decisive ending. With the Queen of Swords and Death clarifying the wheel, the turning point happens because truth is spoken and something is consciously cut away. Okay? The Queen of Swords brings honesty, boundaries, and mental clarity. She sees things as they are, not as she hopes they'll be. In real life terms, this could be a difficult but necessary conversation, a moment where you admit the truth to yourself, or a decision made after finally having all the facts. Think of saying, "This no longer works for me," without guilt or over-explaining. Now, Death confirms that this clarity leads to a real ending, not a pause, not a maybe, but a transformation. Something is being released so that it can't continue in the same form. This could be ending a cycle, a mindset, a relationship dynamic, or even an old version of yourself. For example, you might stop engaging in a pattern that keeps repeating, or fully let go of a situation you've been hoping would change. Together, these cards say the wheel turns because you choose to end what no longer aligns. Fate responds to decisiveness. Once the truth is acknowledged and the cut is made, life naturally shifts direction. So looking at it with regards to the overall reading, meaningful connection helps you see truth. That clarity sparks a turning point, driven by honest judgment from the Queen and necessary ending. You then carry the lessons forward, wounded but resilient, take time to rest and integrate, and finally step into a clean slate. So the core message is that this change wasn't done to you. You participated in it. By choosing truth over comfort and endings over stagnation, you set the wheel in motion and open the door to what comes next. All right, so let's clarify now, please. The Nine of Wands for our Leos. Moon and Five of Pentacles. Now so we know what we're looking at. Okay. All right, so this clarification adds a lot of emotional depth to the Nine of Wands because it explains why the exhaustion and the guardedness are so intense. With the Moon and the Five of Pentacles clarifying this Nine of Wands, the weariness you're carrying isn't just from external challenges. It's rooted in fear, uncertainty, and a deep sense of lack or abandonment. The Moon suggests that much of this struggle has happened in the dark. Confusion, anxiety, mixed signals, or not knowing where you stand has taken its toll. This is a kind of stress that keeps you alert even when nothing is actively happening. Second-guessing conversations, wondering what's being hidden, or feeling emotionally unsafe because clarity was missing. For example, you might have stayed in a situation where the rules kept changing, or where you never quite knew what to expect next. The Five of Pentacles adds the experience of loss or exclusion. This can be financially, emotional, or even spiritual, but at its core, it's the feeling of being left out in the cold. You may have felt unsupported, unchosen, or like you had to endure something alone. In real life, this might look like carrying responsibility without help, feeling abandoned during a difficult time, or believe you had to tough it out because no one was coming to rescue you. So together these cards say the Nine of Wands isn't just resilience, it's survival mode. You learned to protect yourself because you had to. Your boundaries became your armor, not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. Putting it into perspective with the larger spread here, truth and endings were triggered, but before that shift you endured a confusing and isolating period. That's why rest is non-negotiable now, and why the new beginning of the Fool asks you to step forward lighter, without assuming scarcity or hidden threats will follow. So the takeaway is that your exhaustion makes sense. You're not weak for needing rest. You're strong for surviving uncertainty and lack. The cards gently remind you that the hardship is no longer the environment you're in, even if your body and mind haven't caught up yet. So let's clarify, please. Four of Swords for my Leos. Strength. Oh, that's a beautiful card. All right. And one more, please. Okay. So we have Strength and the Five of Wands. I'm just nudging these over a little so we have room. Alrighty. So this kind of reframes the Four of Swords, okay? This rest isn't about escaping life or checking out. It's about recovering from inner and outer conflict so you can regain true strength. With Strength and the Five of Wands clarifying the Four of Swords, the need for rest comes from having fought too many battles at once. The Five of Wands shows ongoing tension, okay? Competition, disagreements, inner contradictions, or feeling pulled in different directions. This doesn't have to mean constant arguments with others. Often it's mental noise, like should I stay or go? Am I doing the right thing? Why does this feel like such a struggle? That constant friction drains you, even when nothing dramatic is happening on the surface. Okay? Strength reveals what the Four of Swords is actually restoring. It's your inner equilibrium. This is quiet resilience, patience, and emotional regulation, not forcing yourself to push through. Strength here is about calming the nervous system, softening your self-judgment, and choosing gentleness over self-criticism. For example, instead of replaying conflicts in your head, rest allows you to step back and respond later with compassion and clarity. Your card, Leo. Okay, so together these cards say the Four of Swords is a strategic pause. Okay? You're stepping away not because you can't handle the conflict, but because you don't need to fight everything. Rest becomes an act of self-mastery. So, taking that again with the larger overall reading, you endured confusion and isolation. Okay, that led you to mental and emotional conflict. Now you're being asked to rest so you can reclaim some strength, calm strength. Okay, this prepares you to begin again from a centered place, the Fool. Now the core message is that real strength right now looks like peace, not persistence. When you stop battling every thought and situation, you give yourself the space to heal, and that's what makes the next chapter possible. All right, so let's take a look at the final card here, the Fool. I'm going to clarify for my Leos. Clarify the Fool for my Leos, please. One. Queen of Wands. Oh, there we go. And Temperance. So this clarification transforms this Fool from being purely impulsive into new beginnings that are balanced and inspired when leaping forward. It's not naive risk-taking. It's a fresh start guided by vision and moderation. The Queen of Wands and Temperance clarifying the Fool. Okay, what happens is that the Queen brings confidence, charisma, and purposeful action. She encourages embracing life with enthusiasm and creativity, leading with your passions and intuition. In practical terms, this means stepping into a new opportunity or path with courage, curiosity, and a sense of personal power. You're not wandering blindly. You're walking forward with flair and self-assuredness. For example, it could be starting a new project, moving to a new city, or meeting new people while fully embracing your authentic energy. All right. Now, Temperance adds a stabilizing, harmonizing influence. It says that this new beginning will flourish best if approached with balance, patience, and integration. It's about blending old lessons with new experiences rather than throwing everything away, okay? In real life, it could be pacing yourself on a big transition, balancing work with rest, or carefully blending different ideas and approaches into a new path. So together, they tell us the Fool's leap isn't reckless. It's a courageous but measured step into the next chapter. You're guided by inner confidence and careful moderation. So even though the path is new, you are prepared to navigate it wisely. So placed in context of the full reading, you move from meaningful connection through conscious endings and transformation, having survived uncertainty and isolation. Taking a restorative pause, and now step forward into a fresh, inspired chapter with confidence and balance. Your next beginning is a brave, inspired, and wise step. You have both the fire to move forward and the equilibrium to stay grounded as you do. All right, Leo, this is your message for going into February. I hope it was helpful. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. Helps get the message out to everyone else. Please do also subscribe. Click the notification button if you wish, so you'll always know when I have new content available. Otherwise, I hope you are well and happy and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.